Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're going to be going over a potential wildcard draft for Game Week 8. So if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below. Leave a comment. Are you thinking of playing your wildcard through this international break? Subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So starting things off, in goal we do have Raya and Ward. I'd probably opt for Ederson in goal over Raya if you were going to go for a 5.5 mil keeper. It's just simply because we have three outfield City players, which is why I can't go for Ederson as well. But I don't mind him as an option. I mean, the defense hasn't been fantastic lately. They have been conceding a lot of goals, and as well as that, they don't have Rodri at the moment. And Kevin De Bruyne should be back, but at the same time, there's a lot of issues at City in regards to who they can actually field, and it definitely is hurting their defensive numbers. Arsenal are still one of the best, if not the best, defense in the league. I think it's like Liverpool, Arsenal, and Forest are the best three. So I don't mind having Raya. And like I say, these three red fixtures coming up are a little bit annoying. But after that, you know, he's an easy set and forget. Game week 12 onwards, he's probably the best keeper to own for the rest of the season. Like, all of the tough fixtures are basically going to be out of the way, or the majority of them as well. You could go for Matt Sells if you wanted to from Forest, but he has, I think, pulled out of international duty with a small injury. So there's always that kind of I guess a little bit of an issue. Again, you never know if these international duty, break injuries are actually real or not, or they're just pulling out. You never know. But either way, I do have Raya in goal. There are a couple of other good options as well. You could even go for a Pickford if you really wanted to. But obviously, I wouldn't trust the Everton defence, especially with Branthwaite out and Mikolenko out as well. But they do have a really nice run of fixtures. But apart from that, there's not really any other goalkeepers that I'd really look at bringing in. Some people might argue that like a Spurs defender or a Spurs goalkeeper is decent, but I just don't trust their defence. So yeah, for me, I just think it's a set forget for Raya. I mean, obviously, Alisson's now out until probably game week 12, so you could always go for the Kelleher. But at the same time, Liverpool's fixtures just aren't that ideal. So I probably wouldn't go there either. So all in all, Raya for 5.5 is okay. There are other players as well, like Flecken, if you want to go there. But at the same time, Brentford's numbers aren't great either. So for me, it's just a set and forget for Raya. And then obviously Ward is just a random 4 mil goalkeeper that you want to put there. So those are the goalkeepers there. At the back, we've got Gabriel, Aït-Nouri, Greaves, Lewis, and Milenkovic. So Gabriel's there just because I feel like you still have to have that. I know that double Arsenal defence hasn't been ideal. I completely understand that. Southampton and Leicester should have been clean sheets. If you didn't have any Arsenal defenders, you've generally gotten away with murder in that situation, because they should have had some clean sheets in those fixtures. They've got Bournemouth away coming up. Again, you don't have to play double defence every single week when they do have Liverpool, Newcastle, and Chelsea. But I think Gabriel is definitely going to be a player that everyone's going to want in the long run. I think double Arsenal defence is just going to really work. Again, you don't have to go double Arsenal defence. You could go for a different player like a Havertz up top if you didn't want to lose those Arsenal spots in defence. But at the same time, for me, I just think with how good their numbers are, with how good their numbers were last season, they're going to come good. I understand that the Leicester and the Southampton game might have put you off a bit, especially with the red fixtures coming up. But at the same time, once they kind of find that defensive, I guess, just that solid back line again, they'll be fine. But got Gabriel in there, also Aït-Nouri as well. Obviously, you're not going to be playing him this week, who's got City at home. But after that, Aït-Nouri has some really nice fixtures coming up. Wolves haven't been great, completely understandable, especially from a defensive standpoint. But Aït-Nouri is basically getting into those left wing positions. If you can get a 4.4 mil left wing with these fixtures coming up, like Brighton, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Fulham, etc., I feel like it just should be a given on a wild card. And even if it goes wrong, he's an easy transfer out anyway. I've still got 0.9 mil in the bank with this wild card, but you could easily get rid of him if you wanted to. But I just think he's going to come good over the next few fixtures, especially when they've got like Southampton at home and stuff like that. Like I say, they've had a rocky start of the season, Wolves have. I think we can all appreciate that, but they have had some really tough fixtures as well. Also gone Greaves as well. He could be any 4 mil defender though, really. There's not really any huge 4 mil defenders this year that are like jumping out at people. A lot of people obviously wanted Barco at the start of the season. He's gone out on loan. Obviously, FaZe has gone a tiny bit up in price. I think he will go up a little bit more. And even from a Leicester standpoint, their numbers aren't great, so I probably wouldn't go there. Ipswich defensive numbers are all right for a newly promoted team, but he's not going to be someone you're playing every week. You know, he's just going to be someone that comes off the bench in a last case, like worst case scenario. And then we've also gone Lewis as well, 4.7. Like I say, the defensive numbers for City are a little bit worrying at the moment with Rodri out, but Lewis, 4.7 mil. He has started the last 2 games. It looks like he's going to keep starting, and Pep is obviously over the moon with him as well. He's only spoken highly of him, so I do really like Lewis as an option on a wildcard draft. And again, if it does go wrong, you can always get rid of him if you wanted to. So you could go Ederson and a different 4.5 mil defender if you wanted to. Like I say, I don't mind that. And then from game week 12 onwards, when City's fixtures get a little bit worse, you can then swap Ederson for Raya. And then, like I say, Lewis can become any 4.5 mil goalkeeper. It's just a lot cheaper. Like 0.8 is a much cheaper way into that City defense with a player that sometimes gets really, really forward, gets really, really attacking. So, again, it's a bit of a gamble with Lewis. At least with Ederson, you know he's going to play. But with Lewis, he's saving you a lot of money. He's got that goal threat in him as well. So that's why I like Lewis a little bit more. And I've also got Milenkovic as well. The 3 fixtures coming up for Forest are really, really nice. Again, this week you could just play, obviously, Gabriel, Lewis, and Milenkovic. And then the week after, you could easily play, when Arsenal's got Liverpool at home, and you didn't want to play double defence, you could always play Aït-Nouri, Lewis, and Milenkovic. Like, you don't have to play double Arsenal defence every week. But, yeah, I mean, like I say, Milenkovic, part of one of the best defences in the league this season. Absolute aerial threat. Our set pieces are clearly to get it into Milenkovic, to knot it down for an attacker in the box, and obviously that worked against Chelsea. So I really like him as an option, not just because I'm a Forest fan, and I think that a lot of people should really be targeting the Forest defence. I think people are really, not necessarily underselling them, but we're like the 2nd or 3rd best defence in the league. Like, you have to, at some point, get involved in that. But either way, that's the back line there. In midfield, we've got Foden, Rodgers, McNeil, and Mbeumo, and Palmer. So Foden is a player that also a little bit risky. You could go Saka if you wanted to, or you could go Son. If Son's back, like, after the international break, then I wouldn't mind Son. Like I said, I've got 0.9 mil in the bank here, so if you didn't want to go Foden, because as soon as De Bruyne is back, his minutes might get, I guess, diminished a little bit, but I think they need that creativity that Foden brings. And I know that obviously he started the last game, played 77 minutes. He did have an expected goal involvement of 0.54, which isn't bad. It's just this run of fixtures, man. Like Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth, Brighton. I think you're going to want to need a couple of City players for that run. And I think Foden, if he's starting games and stuff, I think he's going to be exceptional, really, for only 9.2 as well. And like I say, there's 0.9 mil in the bank, so if you want to jump ship and get off him at any point, you can always upgrade to a Saka or a Son or something like that with the 0.9. Again, this my budget will probably be different to yours. You might be able to easily afford it, you might not be able to afford it, but like I say, I don't mind a Foden to a Son or a Foden to a Saka if needs be. But you could always start with those as well. Like if you want to start with Saka, again, triple Arsenal, probably better from an attacking standpoint with the fixtures coming up, but there's a lot of like chopping and changing in your team if you wanted to bring like Havertz in or something like that. But I do like Havertz as an option. It's just you'd have to get rid of something else and it just wouldn't really work out, because I've only got 0.1 mil in the bank if I went with this. But also you could go Son as well. If Son's fine, obviously. If he's not, then you don't really go near him. But I don't even know when he's expected back. He's got that hamstring injury, so he might be fine after the international break. The good thing about Postecoglou is he'll tell you straight if he's like fine or not. So that's definitely something that you can also think about. So yeah, I think in that spot there, Saka, Foden or Son, perfect really. And it's honestly up to you who you go with. They're all good options. And then Rodgers as well, just the best enabler in the game. The fixtures coming up are a little bit hit and miss, but you can get a 90-minute Champions League attacker for 5.2 mil. I think you just have to go for that. McNeil, also a really nice option to bring in. I think he's like got the 3rd best expected assist this season, playing for Everton. You know, playing in that number 10 role is absolutely phenomenal for this player. And for the next run of fixtures, like I say, Everton's fixtures is just absolutely fine. It can just be a set and forget for the next like 6 game weeks. And then after that, you can then revisit Semenyo, you can revisit your Smith Rowes, you can revisit those kind of players around that price point. But right now, I just think McNeil is an absolute steal for that price. He has actually just had a price rise last night. So if you want to jump on him now, because he's the best like 5.7 player, apart from Rodgers, I think. Like under 6 mil, I think he's the best player after Rodgers. And then Mbeumo as well, another player that's just catching price rises like it's going out of fashion. And again, the fixtures are still so good for him. He can be a set and forget for a while, to be fair. You know, Brentford love scoring in the first 2 minutes of the game. And, you know, Mbeumo's usually involved in it. On penalties, only 7.5 mil. He's obviously gone up a lot since the start of the season. But I just really, really like him as an option. And I think most people who've, you know, activated their wildcard recently or are activating it now, I think Mbeumo must just be a set and forget on your wildcard draft. He's just a player that you're going to need in your team. And then next up, we've got Palmer as well. Liverpool away, obviously this week, not ideal, but with that Alisson injury, that already hurts their defence. And as well as that, he is kind of fixture-proof. He can score against anyone. I know that Liverpool are, like say, first, second or third best defence in the league, something like that. But at the same time, losing Alisson is going to hurt. And I think that Palmer, you know, I think he's still fine in any of these fixtures. And I understand that a lot of people are like, well, you might want to jump on him later. But after this, you've got Newcastle and United, who both haven't been great this season. And then Arsenal, like I say, have just conceded to Leicester and Southampton, so you can easily get something there. And then after that, the fixturing is going to be absolutely ridiculous. If he gets like quite a few returns in these 4 fixtures here, like if he scores, you know, against Liverpool, scores against Newcastle, maybe gets an assist against United, his price is going to be like 11 or something, maybe even more by the time the game week 12 hits. And when he's got Leicester away, Southampton away, Brentford at home, Everton away, like for the remainder of the season, he's just, everyone's going to want him in their team. So yeah, it might be one of those things where you just jump on him early because he's just only going to get better and only going to go up in price. Obviously on pens, Chelsea look very, very good this season. I really like him as an option. Maybe you don't, but yeah, we all know what he can do. He's scored the most points out of everyone last season. He's scored the most points out of everyone since his first start in like game week 7 or 8 for Chelsea last season. He's just constantly performing. His numbers are ridiculous. Yeah, I know I'm just a hype train for Palmer at this point, but yeah, he's just so good. So that's the midfield. And then up top, we've got Calvert-Lewin, we've got Haaland, and we've also got Solanke as well. So I think you have to have a Spurs attacker with the fixtures got coming up. Like I said, I don't trust the Spurs defence at all. We all saw what happened with that Brighton game. And yeah, they obviously kept the clean sheet against Man United, but I think Man United is just all over the place at the moment. Whereas I don't know. Like Van der Ven's a great option for a 4.6 mil defender, but I feel like they're just going to concede in every game. I don't know. I'm just not trusting that defense. But from an attacking point of view, I think Solanke is absolutely fine. Probably one of the better strikers to own this season. Haaland, obviously a given, and then we've also got McNeil. If you did want to save a little bit of money, or you just couldn't make that, then you could always go Strand Larsen, who's 5.5. He is getting a lot of minutes for Wolves, and like I say, the fixture is just really, really good for Strand Larsen coming up. He's, like I say, he's only 5.5. Again, Wolves haven't been great, but Brighton, Palace, Southampton, Fulham, Bournemouth, Everton, West Ham, Ipswich, Leicester, from an attacking standpoint, is just absolutely ridiculous. And like I say, he's played over 60 in every single fixture. He just scored against Brentford, so that's obviously quite useful. Yeah, I think he's a solid 8th attacker. I really, really do. I think he's going to be absolutely fine. As if you obviously can't get to Calvert-Lewin, or if you don't want Calvert-Lewin, that's just something else you could visit. So yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a tricky wildcard draft, because obviously there's like no Liverpool here, which is understandably quite shocking, but I don't think Trent is a must-need on a wildcard draft, especially with Alisson's injury. I just don't think they're going to keep many clean sheets. Is he going to get that many attacking returns over the next few? Potentially, but is he worth the price? Also, potentially not. With this kind of draft, it's whether you want Solanke or Trent, and I just think over the next 4, I think that Solanke is just going to be a better option, in my opinion. I just think he's going to get you more points. But again, if you want to keep on Trent, then that's obviously absolutely fine. And then as well as that, like I say, there's no Liverpool midfielders either. I think Diaz is a slight rotation risk. Obviously, we all saw what happened. I think Jota's probably, if you're not going for Salah, probably one of the better ones to own, just simply because there's a lot of, I guess, talk around what's going on with Darwin Núñez. So if he's just losing his spot, and if he's just wanting to leave the club at the end of the season, then, you know, it's Jota's place, really. They've not really got any other out-and-out striker. They've got Gakpo and Diaz on the left. They've not really got anybody else through the middle for Jota, really. So if that's the case, and Jota is just playing every single fixture, then that's definitely a player that you want to revisit. But we don't really have enough information about that at the moment. And then, yeah, as well as that, you could go Havertz up top as well, instead of Solanke, but I don't think it's really worth it. I don't know. I like the draft. Obviously, early days for international break. There might be a few injuries, so we'll have to wait and see for that. But that's my potential Game Week 8 wildcard draft. We'll probably do an updated one next week if, like I say, there are injuries and stuff. But if you did enjoy the video, drop a like down below. Leave a comment. Are you wildcarding this week or next week? Subscribe if you're brand new. And until next time, peace.